What's up, guys? Rob from the Lighting the Lamp podcast here, and today I'm bringing you the first in what I think we're going to be calling our MiniPods. Not really a series, just kind of a different style of video to the podcast that you're normally used to. This is not going to be a thing where there's multiple people. It's just going to be me getting up on camera, or Steve or Tim getting on camera, or Mike, whatever the case is, and just talking about something that maybe is more of a personal thing to us, or maybe we don't think necessarily requires a full podcast, or just really any topic we want to talk about. And there's a reason I'm wearing the fisherman sweater. Got my Islanders hat on. You can see my wall behind me. And the reason I'm wearing all this getup is because today's topic is the recent news about the Nassau Coliseum. Now, it's no secret that I am a huge Islanders fan, if you couldn't tell by the podcast or by my wall. And this is something that hits kind of home for me. It's near and dear to my heart. So I hope you guys will enjoy my little topic. But today it was announced that Nassau Coliseum is closing for the time being. The group that owns it wants to sell, and they want to find new investors to take over the lease and the remaining $100 million in debt over renovations. This is a problem, but this is a problem that has been going back to when the Lighthouse project was first announced. Now, for those of you that don't know much about what I'm talking about, when Charles Wang was the owner of the New York Islanders, he offered and came up with this thing called the Lighthouse Project. It was supposed to be this massive complex with multiple ice rinks. The Islanders were going to practice there. There's going to be athletic facilities. There's going to be hotels on campus or in the area, on the land. It was going to be a sports complex. It was going to be big. It was going to be bold. It was going to be new. And initially when he offered it, he was going to either, I forget if it was he was going to foot the bill or he was going to help foot the bill with benefactors and Nassau County. For those of you that don't know, the Islanders play in Nassau County. That's where Nassau Coliseum is located. Nassau County here on Long Island. Kate Murray, who was the district leader at the time, I forget technically the name for it, county executive, whatever she was, she declined. She said no, and she counter-offered with something that was half the size of what Charles Wang, who was the Islanders owner at the time, offered. Wang said, "No way, we're not gonna take this rinky-dink offer you're giving us." It cut the project in more than half, and he was like, "Why am I gonna fund this project if it's not gonna be what I wanted it to be, and it's probably not gonna work?" So he said no, and then the Islanders and Charles Wang, or mostly Charles Wang, decided to hold a referendum for public funding. The residents of Nassau County were going to help fund the Lighthouse Project, which was going to include a new rink for the New York Islanders where they would continue to play for the next 25, 30, 40, 50 years, whatever the case was. All this was going on because the Islanders needed a new rink. The Coliseum at the time, look, everybody knows, the Islanders fans, myself included, we love the old barn, but it needed to be renovated. It needed an upgrade. It needed to be made modern. It needed a lot of things. It needed a lot of work. So at this point, the referendum goes public. Kate Murray and Nassau politicians launch a campaign against it, and they basically wanted nothing to do with it. Nassau County politicians on both sides, Republican and Democrat, wanted nothing to do with it. When the Republicans were happy with the proposal, because this had been going on for a long time. This had been going on for quite some time with Charles Wang. When the Republicans were finally happy with something he offered, the Democrats had a problem with it. When the Democrats were finally happy with something Charles Wang offered, the Republicans had a problem with it. So ultimately, the Lighthouse Project failed. Nassau County residents voted it down 57% to 43%. And this is where it all starts. The Islanders, of course, as everyone knows, moved to Brooklyn. They said, we can't play at Nassau Coliseum, so we're going to move to Brooklyn. And then the Coliseum gets renovated. And guess who paid for the whole thing? Nassau County. Nassau County voters, taxpayers, residents, and government paid for the renovations to the Nassau Coliseum. Charles Wang offered to help build a sports complex, including a new stadium. He offered to help pay for it. Nassau County foot the bill. Okay, fine. You guys want to lose some money? That's fine. That's your prerogative. I don't agree with it. Fine. And then when they renovated the Coliseum, they made it too small. For a lot of people that they don't understand, that's why it was so hard for the Islanders to convince Gary Bettman and the NHL to let them play at the Coliseum. It's technically too small to be an NHL rink. It doesn't have enough seats, not the rink size, the seating. It does not hold enough seats to be considered a National Hockey League rink. That was the holdup. So then the Islanders say, okay, the NHL finally let us play at Nassau Coliseum again. We're done with the Barclays Center. We don't want to do it anymore. And then they build their own rink. As you guys might be aware, the Islanders are building a rink at Belmont Park Arena. It's going to be a new state-of-the-art facility. It's going to have its own train connection. It's going to have all this great stuff. Here's the problem. So now Nassau County is left with Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. And now there's going to be a second 10,000 plus seat arena not too far from it. It's really, in the grand scheme of things, Belmont Park from Hempstead, New York, is not really that far. So the question now becomes, what do we do with Nassau Coliseum? And it's a great question. Just for reference, from Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum to where Belmont Park starts, the borders, it's 19 minutes. It's 15 miles. So you're going to have a state-of-the-art facility 15 miles away from the Coliseum, roughly. Do you see the problem here? Nassau Coliseum does not have a major sports team. It does not have the New York Islanders. It does not have any other major sports as far as I'm aware. It has concerts, and that's about it. The Islanders are going to be playing a mere 15 miles away. So now Nassau County is stuck with the bill, and the investors in the Coliseum are stuck with the bill for hundreds of millions of dollars in renovations that happened not even 5 years ago. The revamped Coliseum is basically brand new in terms of stadium standards. No major sports, no New York Islanders. Do you see the problem? Do you see how this doesn't make any sense? Charles Wang goes to Nassau and says, I want to build a new sports complex, and I'll help foot the bill. And they tell him no. So then he says, taxpayers, do you want to help me foot the bill? And because of Nassau politics, because of stupid smear campaigns, and because of misinformation spread by Nassau politicians, it gets voted down, or it could have just been greed. People's taxes in Nassau County would have gone up, to be fair, and Nassau County is a pretty expensive place to live, so I understand that. But think about this now. Sure, Belmont Park is still in Nassau County, New York. The problem is, what about all those people that worked at the Coliseum? All those jobs that the Islanders events brought in. Sure, 15 miles away, like I said, it's really not that far. People could potentially still drive there. But what about the workers that were already driving eastward or westward a fair bit, and they're not going to want to add 15 miles to their commute? What about all those jobs that are going to be gone now? What about all the money that was going into the Hempstead area? Sure, it's still in Nassau County, so the politicians get it. Politicians look great. Nassau County still gets its money. But the stupidity of the situation is Charles Wang offers to help pay for the sports complex. Kate Murray says no. Charles Wang asks the public to help pay for it. The public says no. When the public says no at that point, there's literally 3 possible outcomes for this, and none of them are good for Nassau County. The outcomes are either the Islanders leave Nassau County, which they did. They went to Brooklyn. The Islanders leave the state, which is bad for everybody in New York. Or the Islanders do what they had to do, which is build their own arena. And now Nassau County is sitting with Nassau Coliseum being empty in 2 years. The Islanders start playing there in 2021. So this screws the Islanders over for next season, because if the Coliseum isn't open, where are they going to play? Some people have said they could just go back to Brooklyn for another season, which is technically, I guess, a possibility. We'll have to see if Barclays Center management would even want that. They could, if there's no fans, I mean, the Islanders could technically just play at a practice facility or something, if the rink is big enough. It all depends on what's going to happen. But now the issue is, now the Islanders need somewhere to play next season because the Coliseum's not going to be open. And now, after the fact, Nassau Coliseum is going to be sitting there empty, no major sports, the only draws being concerts. And if you're bringing a concert to the island, why would you choose to go to Nassau Coliseum when a newer, bigger stadium is going to be built just down the street that's going to have public transit access, which Hempstead Nassau Coliseum does not. The Coliseum, getting there, you pretty much have to drive. Or you could take like an Uber or Lyft or something. So why would you go to Nassau Coliseum for a concert? Why would you host a concert there? Do you see the stupidity of the whole situation? So everybody from start to finish whose name wasn't Charles Wang just screwed themselves over. Nassau County shot themselves in the foot and then said, hey, that feels pretty good. And then they shot themselves right in the face. Because what's going to happen at the Coliseum now? My hope is, and my hope is that they bring the Sound Tigers to the Coliseum. I think that'd be fantastic. If the Bridgeport Sound Tigers move to Nassau Coliseum, the farm team is obviously right there, so any call-ups can immediately just be bought into the rink 15 miles away. I think it would be a better draw, and they would have better attendance than they do in Bridgeport. I'm sure that a lot of Islander fans, myself included, would love to go to some Sound Tigers games and see the young prospects, considering that these are going to be our boys, and they're probably going to play for the Islanders at some point. So that's a possibility. They could bring the Sound Tigers over. Or they could try to bring some other major sport over. Potentially, I guess the Rangers farm team might come over. There's an idea there. But right now, the Coliseum is empty, and it's closed. And it blows my mind. It really does. As an Islanders fan, it's worrying because now I don't know where my team is playing next season. I can't wait to get to Belmont Park Arena and just not have to worry about a stadium anymore. But I hope that everyone understands that, sure, you can poke fun at the Islanders as an organization all you want for having 2 rinks or no rinks at all. But Charles Wang did everything he possibly could to get the Islanders a stadium. I respect the hell out of Charles Wang, and I hope he knows how much all us Islanders fans appreciated that man. He had so many chances to move this team off Long Island and out of New York. If he really wanted to, the Islanders would not be here anymore. They would have been sold a long time ago. They would not be in New York, and they would not even be anywhere close to Long Island. But that man fought tooth and nail and did everything he possibly could to keep this team where it belongs. And Nassau County did everything it possibly could to try to get him to move. It's as simple as that. I really hope that Charles Wang and his family, obviously Charles Wang is no longer with us, sadly, but I hope that he knows and his family knows just how much we appreciated what he did for this team. Sure, the man might not have known a lot about hockey. Sure, he might have given Garth Snow too long of a leash. He might have given Jack Capuano too long of a leash. But that man did everything he possibly could to make sure that the Islanders really did mean the Islanders, and they were on Long Island as much as possible. And I hope everyone in Nassau County, Kate Murray, and everyone that voted no on the referendum gets to bear the fruits of their stupidity. And they get to sit and stare at that empty barn and know that they did that to themselves. And it's sad, because the barn is the Islanders' home. As much as Belmont Park Arena will be the Islanders' home, and I'm sure Islanders fans will come to love that place, and we'll come to fill it with all the passion that we could fill the old barn. It just hurts the fact that the old barn will still be standing and we won't be playing there because of the greed, the stupidity, and the misinformation surrounding the Lighthouse Project, and whatever numbskull was in charge of the Coliseum renovations who made it too small. So I know this turned into more of a rant than a pod, but I just hope that maybe some non-Islanders fans get to see this and understand that there's just a lot going on with this team, and like 90% of it has nothing to do with the Islanders organization as far as the rinks and all this nonsense is going, because it really, a lot of it has nothing to do with the team. I mean, Charles Wang did everything he could for this team, and Nassau County totally shut him out. So I think I'm going to wrap it up there before I continue going on. Let me know what you guys think. Like I said, I hope some non-Islanders fans can see this and understand just how frustrating this is and how stupid the whole situation is. I can't wait to get to Belmont Park Arena. I'm so excited to have a permanent home as an Islanders fan. And let me know if there's any other mini pods sort of stuff you guys want me to do. I have a couple of ideas, but this is going to be, like I said, something that's maybe not podcast length material, or something that maybe isn't directly related to just on ice product like this, or just something that maybe some of the guys want to talk about. Like, I just wanted to talk about this, and yeah, just something that maybe we could do on the side. Obviously, this isn't going to be considered a regular episode of the Light and Lamp podcast. This is a offshoot. This is something completely different. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you guys again next time.